The following contains spoilers for the upcoming season of Game of Thrones. Hey guys, in this video I'll discuss and show you some kind of proofs that are going in favor of Gendry being firstborn son of Cersei and Robert Baratheon. Be aware that this is a theory for a TV show only, not for the books. The last living man in Westeros with Baratheon blood within him, the guy whose fate had been unknown after escaping from the island of Dragonstone with help of Sir Davos Seaward, at least unknown until a few months ago, when leaked photos confirmed that this guy, Gendry, will finally appear in Season 7. Joe Dempsey, aka Gendry, has been firstly spotted on September of 2016, spotted by a fan in Northern Ireland's Belfast City Airport. But it didn't confirm much, since actors that have been killed or their fate is just unknown on the show have been known for visiting out actors on their filming locations for dinner parties and marketing events. But Gendry's appearance in Season 7 became a certain thing a few months ago when filming took place in Barca, as we could clearly see Gendry killing two gold cloaks with his father's warhammer, whereupon they headed to Dragonstone. Few days after those leaked scenes in King's Landing, we could see a few leaked photos, in which Gendry stands beside Daenerys, Jon, Jorah, Davos and Tyrion, a scene that does end surprisingly as Jon, Davos, Jorah and Gendry push the boat and Vet together to the north, beyond the wall on a mission that I've explained in my previous videos. However, now that we know for sure that Gendry will finally appear in the upcoming season after a long absence and will probably play a huge role in the last 8th season, which I explained in a video about Gendry's fate, let's focus on Gendry's identity. Let's see what kind of evidence show gave us for this theory in which Gendry is the firstborn son of Cersei and Robert. Since the first season, we know that Gendry is son of King Robert Baratheon, as Ned Stark recognized it at the moment he laid his eyes on him. Due to the fact that Renly Baratheon is also said to greatly resemble his older brother in his youth, Gendry also bears a striking resemblance to Renly. Additionally, Brienne of Tarth noticed this fact in the 4th novel of the fantasy series A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin in A Feast for Crows, briefly believing that Gendry is Renly, who has returned from the grave, which was a result of her being badly wounded in a fight and of her losing consciousness. While in the show, Gendry is son of Robert, just like he is in the books, but in the show there are also some hints of Gendry being son of Robert and Cersei, while in the books it's definitely not the case. By this theory, Gendry is a black-haired, beautiful son that Cersei described to Catelyn in a 2nd episode of the 1st season, a son she said had died of a fever. It's also important to point out that the show gave us a few, let's call it hidden hints, that are going in favor to this theory. For an example, when Arya asked Gendry about his mother, the only thing he remembered was her yellow hair, as he also told the same to her father Ned, but this time Gendry also mentioned that her mother was probably some tavern wench. There's also a scene in which Cersei admitted that she disguised herself as a tavern wench when she had a secret meetings with Jaime in order to avoid other people recognizing her, which might, but only might mean that Cersei stopped by to visit her son every now and then, while having a secret meeting with her brother and lover. Do you think that it's a coincidence that Gendry remembers her yellow-haired mother, who he said looked like some tavern wench, and Cersei saying herself that she was dressing as a one? Well, it certainly might be a coincidence, and I would surely say it's coincidence if it was any other show, but Game of Thrones, a show in which every spoken word has its meaning. You might wonder, why would Cersei give up on her firstborn son? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Cersei didn't love Robert since the very first day. Since their wedding night, as she replied herself on Ned's assertion that she always hated Robert, quoting, "Hated him? I worshipped him. Every girl in 7 kingdoms dreamed of him, but he was mine by oath. And when I finally saw him on our wedding day in the Sept of Baelor, lean and fierce and black-bearded, it was the happiest moment of my life. And that night, he crawled on top of me, stinking of wine, and did what he did, what little he could do, and whispered in my ear, 'Lyanna, your sister was a corpse, I was a living girl, and he loved her more than me.'" These Cersei sentences say itself how much Cersei hated Robert, which eventually resulted with him being killed by Cersei's intrigues. She didn't love Robert and didn't want to raise his son as an heir of the throne, so by this theory she gave away Gendry in secret and lied about his death. There are a few possibilities about this theory. The most likely could be that Cersei, with Jaime's help, replaced the real baby, who would be in this theory Gendry, with some let's call it ordinary low-born baby, whereupon they poisoned him and caused baby's death. They probably used the same kind of poison as Peter Baelish and Lysa Arryn did to kill Jon Arryn, who also died of a fever. As this theory continues, there we come to an explanation on how did Cersei and Jaime manage to replace a baby and poison this same baby, which would be very simple to manage, since Robert never attended on Cersei's childbirths. As Cersei stated herself, Robert would always go hunting when she was about to give birth, which confirms my statement from a few moments ago. Let me tell you again that this theory in which Cersei is Gendry's mother is certainly not possible in the books, since the little dark-haired boy that Cersei gave birth in the show does not exist in the books. I'm not sure if producers made a mistake with Maggie, who prophesied in the season 5 premiere that Cersei will have only 3 children, among other prophecies of which most of them have already came true. According to the writer Brian Cogman, it's not a mistake. Cogman, who is an Emmy Award-winning television producer and screenwriter, also known for writing 9 episodes of Game of Thrones series, was directly asked about this Maggie's prophecy, on which he replied that Cersei's black-haired son with Robert wasn't included in her, as he called it, official count of children, because he died in the cradle. I'm quoted what he said exactly. Maggie's just speaking of the 3 official kids who have lived and were known. The black-haired baby was kept quiet. I'm also wondering if Jon Arryn, who visited Gendry a few times before his death, actually found out that Gendry is the first and true-born son of his dear friend and King Robert Baratheon, while Ned Stark thought that he found out the same truth as Jon did, but in my opinion, Ned was wrong. Ned found out that Gendry is son of Robert, true. But what if Lord Arryn beside that found out that Gendry is not only Robert's bastard, that Gendry is not son of some low-born woman, but the son of Cersei, a son that Cersei and Jaime gave out and replaced, as I've already explained earlier in this video, which they could have managed to do without any obstacle, since Robert was hunting at the time Cersei gave birth to their boy and only saw a dead body. What if conversation between Cersei and Jaime on Jon's funeral, in which Cersei expressed concern for their lives in case Jon told the truth to Robert, was the truth about his first and the only true-born son? It would also raise a question about Lord Arryn's death, which we all know was orchestrated by Littlefinger. What if Peter Baelish killed the Hand of the King, of course beside the fact that it gave him an opportunity to marry Lysa, who he has already been manipulating with, but also to prevent Lord Arryn to tell the truth to Robert, to tell him that he has the oldest son, the true-born son. Your thoughts right now are probably, why would Littlefinger even do that? What good would it bring to him? Well, if Lord Arryn managed to tell King Robert about his true and eldest son, it wouldn't bring Peter a chance to put the 7 kingdoms into the state of chaos from which he personally benefited. It wouldn't bring him a chance to set up a war between the lions and the wolves. It wouldn't bring him a chance to manipulate with Ned Stark, which resulted just as he planned with the war. If Lord Arryn told to King Robert about Gendry, Robert would have been still alive, Gendry would have been his heir, Ned Stark would have been in the Hand of the King, and the 7 kingdoms wouldn't have been in the state of chaos, which wouldn't bring any success and benefit to Littlefinger. I'm not sure if this theory is going to be revealed as a true one, or it's just me and my overthinking, but this whole theory makes sense to me. Let me know your opinion on this theory in the comment section down below. While I'm not sure if this theory is going to come true, Gendry's role in the upcoming season is a certain thing. In my opinion, Gendry, who is known as a skilled blacksmith, will be very important in the last 8 seasons, since I'm expecting from Sam to find out how to make Valyrian steel, a form of metal that was forged in the days of the mighty Valyrian Freehold. I'm expecting from Sam to find out how to make it while he's at Citadel, and I'm also expecting from Gendry to forge swords of Valyrian steel, the weapon that the living side desperately needs, the only weapon that can, besides dragonglass, kill White Walkers. We have a few leaked photos of John Bradley, known as Sam Tarnley, which were taken from filming set at Caceres. Photos in which Sam is leaving the old town with Gilly and baby Sam, which could mean that Sam at this point will already learn how to make Valyrian steel, since these scenes of Sam are going to be placed in either episode 4 or episode 5, which I know for sure, since on the filming set, director Matt Shakman was spotted. I'm sure that Gendry will play a huge role in season 7 as well, since he will help Jon on his mission and will go beyond the wall with him, but I see Gendry having a much bigger importance in the last season. Back in the 3rd season, when Melisandre bought Gendry from the Brotherhood without banners, Gendry, disappointed that Brotherhood sold him to Melisandre, said that he thought he was one of them. He said that he thought that he was a part of Brotherhood without banners, on which Melisandre replied with, "You're more than they're ever going to be. Because of you, the kings will rise and fall." Let me repeat one part of Melisandre's sentence: the kings will rise and fall because of you. I'm aware that Melisandre by this was pointing on his blood, which she used for a blood ritual, but what if Melisandre was wrong? as she was wrong while convincing Stannis that he was the promised one? What if she was right about the part of sentence in which she said that the kings will rise and fall because of him? But what if she missed the true meaning of that? What if the kings will literally rise and fall because of him as a result of his own acts? Could, for an example, Gendry cause the fall of the Night King by forging Valyrian steel swords? Could the last living son of King Robert Baratheon be brought back to do something big, something that will save the whole Westeros? Let me know your opinion on all of this in the comment section down below.